Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call to order the Sacramento Transportation Authority for May 14th, 2026. Will you please call the roll?
Yes. Directors Boulahan?
I'm here.
Desmond?
Here.
Dickinson? Guerra? Hume?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Maple? Nelson? Here. Pulapati? Rodriguez? Cerna?
Here.
Singh Allen? Spees?
Present.
Talamontes?
I'm busy talking.
Vang?
I'm here.
Dickinson?
Yeah, just arrived.
Dickinson. And Chair Rayfel.
I didn't say present.
Here.
Oh, and Singh Allen is also present. Perfect. And you do have a quorum.
If you'll please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll please read the announcements.
Yes. This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV UVerse cable systems. It is also live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, May 17th at 2 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. To make an in-person public comment, please complete a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk. The chairperson will call your name when it's your turn to make a comment. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record.
Thank you. That takes us to comment items. Do we have any comments from the public on unagendized items this evening?
We do not have any comments.
All right. So that takes us to the consent items. Anyone want to pull anything this afternoon?
Consent. Second.
A motion and a second. Are we electronically voting today?
Yes, we are.
All right. Please vote.
We seem to be having some technical difficulties. I'm going to close out the vote and I'm going to restart it.
Can I change my mind?
Maybe it's not an option.
Let's see. Metro Cable, can we get some assistance?
Let's call the roll. We're good.
Okay, let's go ahead and do it. Okay. Directors Boulahan?
Aye.
Desmond?
Aye.
Dickinson?
Aye.
Guerra?
Here. Aye.
Hume?
Aye.
Kennedy?
Here and aye.
Nelson?
Aye.
Cerna?
Aye.
Singh Allen?
Aye.
Spees?
Aye.
Talamontes?
Aye.
And Chair Rayfel.
Aye.
And the motion passes unanimously.
That takes us to separate items. Will you please call the next item?
Item number 7 is introduce draft STA budget for fiscal year 2026-27.
All right. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and Board of Directors. I'm Dustin Purinton, and I will be presenting the draft budget for fiscal year 26-27. So to start off, why are we here? Why are we adopting a budget? We are legally required to adopt a budget. This budget is balanced. We have the ITALC committee, which operates on this, call it separate from the board. They have reviewed this draft budget and they provided comments, and we've already made or incorporated those comments into the draft budget. We will be bringing this back in June to adopt the final budget with any comments that we get today. And there was one open item, the appropriations limit in there. That has since been updated. They published it after I put this onto the website, so we have a complete budget now. Moving on to what what is unique to the authority in this budget? We are a special district sales tax, not to be confused with Bradley Burns, the jurisdiction taxes. We have a funding constrained capital improvement program, which means we do not budget beyond our projections and our actual funding. We have a very large formulaic allocation of revenue, which all the jurisdictions receive portions of that, and that's about 80% of the total budget, the total sales tax budget, that is. So, and we have a countywide transportation impact fee, which is specific for capital improvement program, and it is jurisdictionally bound. So if it's collected in the city of Sacramento, it is returned to the city of Sacramento, or at least the jurisdictional bounds of the city. And it is bound by a nexus study, which was approved earlier, a couple of years back now. And we do have pretty strong stability in this budget. We have strong population growth, well, we'll call it moderate population growth, and strong per capita spending. So the population has rising wages in the county of Sacramento. So that brings us to the budget highlights. We are projecting an increase of 3.6% in our sales tax revenue assumptions, and that carries through the entire budget. We also are projecting a 26.8% capital improvement program decrease, and that is mostly caused by the prior year having significant budgeted capital improvement projects that were unique to last year. They were just much higher than they normally are. So now we're coming back into a more normal budget cycle, and I would expect these numbers to continue into next year. And I also wanted to highlight our CalPERS unfunded accrued liability is under 5% of our total administrative fund appropriations, which I consider that pretty low. To continue that thought, this is a chart showing where our CalPERS UAL is and how much we paid towards it. So we started off at about 1.5 million in 2022 and 23, and now we are close to about $200,000 in this budget cycle, which is a significant reduction, and I can say that that is almost 100% caused by the board approving additional contributions into this liability. So, and that's going to help us for years to come. We don't pay interest on the outstanding balance, and they don't require us to pay quite as much every year. So moving on, I wanted to highlight some budgetary resolution differences this year that were not included last year. This budget resolution is going to authorize the impact fee to be adjusted to reflect actual earnings. The impact fee is really difficult to project because we cannot accurately predict when Kaiser is going to pay their large impact fees or a development out in the county is going to pay impact fees. So this gives us a little bit of flexibility to budget towards what we're actually taking in. And this also authorizes a capital improvement program rollover year to year. So project balances that existed in prior years, well, the most recent prior year will be rolled forward into the next year. This gives jurisdictions some more spending ability without having to come back to the board to ask for more money in a lot of cases. I'd like to highlight that Caltrans with Highway 50 did this as part of a board item this year. So they brought forward prior year money into the current year. And the last item here is the capital improvement appropriation flexibility bullet here. So we are looking for some additional flexibility in using sales taxes versus impact fees on specific projects. This allows us to be more efficient and effective with the use of money because our impact fees are quite a bit more restricted than our sales taxes. We have a nexus study, we have eligibility requirements, and we have return to source stipulations in the impact fees. This will allow us to flexibly use the best source of funding in project spending, ultimately allowing us to use the most restricted funding first. And I'm going to pass off the presentation to Kevin to continue with our strategic planning goals.
Wonderful. Yeah, we wanted to highlight these strategic planning goals. They're kind of help us guide our work in our budget and our work over over the year. So there's 3 strategic planning goals. The first one is build public trust. We do that through our financial planning and forecasting to ensure that we're not spending more revenues than we anticipate. We try to be good stewards of our debt and credit. We also try to make sure we have accountability and transportation accountability in place as it relates to our accounting, what we put on our website, what we put on our, actually in our board agenda, reporting on how these funds are used so the public really understands that. And then we have ongoing public outreach and education on, where the funds from Measure A are being utilized, which is also on our website as well. We do that through our social media channels. Oh, I better click this thing. Okay. Another thing we do is we want to develop great relationships. SDA is a funding agency. We are not an implementing agency. We do not do project delivery. We do not do those things, right? And so what we want to ensure is that our project partners who actually deliver the projects funded, usually in part by Measure A, we're working well with them. So we take a concerted effort to meet with every, we meet with every agency at least annually to check in on how they're doing on their measure funds. Are they spending down their balances? Are there new priorities? Have priorities shifted, as an example? We have a professional advisory group that we engage, especially before major board items, to sort of weigh in on their thoughts, which is made up from planners and engineers from the various agencies that receive Measure A. And then we do a little more than that. Like in this year, we did some training specifically related to the SACOG funding round to ensure that the agencies are well prepared for that upcoming grant opportunity and they're able to leverage Measure A funds. Then the third one is aligning transportation priorities with the funding, right? So I think that has to do with our local Measure A dollars are a small component of the overall cost of a lot of these projects. It takes a lot of additional funding to actually advance these projects. So we want to ensure that there's when needed grant leverage strategies and other types of efforts that sort of align the various transportation funding with the priorities that each agency wants to implement. So we do a lot of work in this particular area to try to advance projects through grants, and we'll talk about that more under item number 9. So this slide here was my attempt to sort of roll all that into one beautiful slide, talking about all the activities we anticipate doing over the next year, broken out into the first half and the second half of the fiscal year. I'm going to highlight these are organized by those 3 priorities: build public trust, develop great relationships, and align transportation priorities with funding. A couple ones I want to highlight. The first being in the orange box on the top left, economic development study. We would like to do an economic development study to analyze the economic development impacts of Measure A over the last more than 15 years. We think that this is really good information for the public to have, right? We're spending about $180 million a year investing in our transportation system. What are the benefits that we're getting from that? What are the jobs? As well as what other opportunities come out of that. And then another one I want to highlight is in the bottom box in gray on the right here is pavement and bridge needs. This is an area where a lot of the public is concerned about our major infrastructure and the condition of that major infrastructure. In 2024, we did an analysis of our pavement needs only, looking at looking at what are the overall needs for our pavement conditions and at a jurisdictional level, how much our current funding goes and what additional funding we need to address pavement. But bridges are another high interest area that we want to cover. So we are going to cover both pavement and bridge needs in this updated study. So you should see that in the beginning of 2027. And so with that, hand back over to Dustin.
All right. I just wanted to highlight that this is our 8th consecutive year of receiving the GFOA Distinguished Budget Award. This award really helps us align our budget and what we're communicating with best practices with other much larger governments to try to basically communicate the best way that we can with the public. So moving on, the recommendation here is just to introduce this draft budget. We are going to leave it open for comment until the final draft budget is brought back to you in June. So with that, I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Dustin. Any questions? All right, any public comment?
No public comment.
Oh, Member Dickinson.
Thank you. I just have a request. Thanks for the presentation, but in the material posted for the agenda, it requires going to another website to actually look at the budget.
Yes.
So when you come back, when you present, can you include the budget with the items so people just, including board members, don't have to go through that step?
We can do that, yes. The only reason we've done this is just the length of it, because I believe it's 130 pages this year. It just keeps getting bigger, but we will do that.
Well, and if you want, I mean, there are certain elements of it that are certainly more relevant than others in ways. Your line items, your categorical spending, those kinds of things. You know, I'm sure you've got charts for those or tables for those. So maybe you may be able to slice down that 130. Of course, you might ask yourself why you have 130, but that's a secondary question.
Yes, I have made an effort to reduce it as many pages as possible.
Yeah.
But we could bring back just a letter of transmittal, which includes a really good summary of everything, just the budget in general, and that's probably about 30 pages.
Does that include tables, the tabular form of the budget, so people can see your line items of how you're spending or proposing to spend?
It does include the consolidated table, so that includes all of our funds in one table.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking at it, so I'm not quite sure, but I'd say this generally, that I think when people want to look at a budget, they want to look at where your money's coming from, what are the sources of your money, and how are you going to expend it on a line item basis. And so that's what I think people would be most interested in personally.
Okay, yes, we'll include the whole budget just so we don't miss anything. But we'll think about that.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Any other comments or questions? All right, and no public comment?
No public comment.
Perfect. Please call the next item.
Item number 8 is annual public hearing on staff vacancies pursuant to AB 2561.
All right, this is my item again. All right, so this is in regards to Assembly Bill 2561. It is a public hearing for staff vacancies. Just to update the public on any vacancies, any recruitment, and our retention efforts as an authority. So our vacancy rate as of today is 25%. We have 4 full-time positions authorized with 1 vacancy. We don't currently have any job openings, and this is as a result of the board's direction to hire consultants to handle the work as opposed to hiring a new staff. This is also really in alignment with STA's operating structure. We operate in a very lean fashion, and we do delay recruitment as long as possible to align with budget and workflows. So our hiring policies are periodically reviewed, and we don't see any barriers to hiring. There is no fiscal impact with this item, and the conclusion here, this hearing is just open for public input. And
Thank you, Destin. Seeing no request to speak, we're going to go ahead and open the public comment, or open the public hearing. Do we have any comments?
No comment.
All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And please call the next item.
Item number 9 is adopt a resolution authorizing participation in SACOG's 2026 federal funding programs and authorize related actions.
Okay, good afternoon, Board. Chair and Vice Chair here to present on item number 9, which is adopt a resolution authorizing our participation in the SACOG 2026 federal funding program. So at SDA, we like to leverage our Measure A dollars and our local dollars to get additional funding. We do that through the SACOG funding round, the federal funding round, other future grants, and hopefully those funds will all go to the actual project delivery. SDA kind of is takes a countywide coordination role. We work with the various agencies, the counties, cities, regional agencies, transit providers to sort of help align those transportation priorities with funding, grants being one of them. Now there's a bit of a challenge here with the SACOG federal funding round. It limits the number of applications that each agency can submit to 3 applications per program. And it's a little more challenging with multi-jurisdictional projects. So the agencies are faced with, do we submit a local agency priority, or do we submit a shared project that has some benefit to our agency? And that kind of puts agencies in a little bit of a challenging spot. But don't worry, there's a solution here. So we talked to SACOG. SACOG is comfortable with SDA submitting multi-jurisdictional applications, so they would not account against the implementing agency's application limit. So this approach essentially preserves the local agency's slots, so they can use all their slots. It supports, these more regional projects, right? Transportation doesn't end at the city border, right? And so it allows these more larger projects to move forward. And those projects are actually very competitive. The more regional projects have regional benefits, they do well. They do a little bit better at the federal and state level for funding. And so this package of projects is intended to balance out both urban and rural context. And we'll talk about those two projects here. So the first is the Harvest Corridor Improvement Partnership, which is more about agritourism, agricultural routes, and addressing things that Mr. Hume is very passionate about, I'm sure. And then we have the Stockton Boulevard Safety and Transit Enhancement Project, which is a project we heard about at our last board meeting. So Harvest Corridor Improvement Partnership. So the lead agency for this would be Sacramento County. We would be actually covering the areas of South Sacramento County and Apple Hill. The partners for this would be Sacramento County, El Dorado County, and the cities of Galt, Ileton, and Elk Grove. The overall purpose here that we're pursuing funds for is for environmental clearance. No. Do you need some water? No. Okay. Essentially, getting environmental clearance for this. The funding request we're looking for is somewhere in the $3 to $4 million range. This one is still kind of a work in progress. There is a federal program called the Rural Program, which the average award is about $30 million. So $30 million in construction dollars for kind of rural roads would actually move the needle quite a bit in South Sacramento County. And given that all these various cities kind of use those routes, we think this is a really good project. Second project is the Stockton Boulevard Safety and Transit Enhancement Project. It is the lead agency would be the City of Sacramento. They are partnering with Sacramento County and City of Sacramento, as well as SACRT, are all partnering together. We are looking at funding the initial final design phase, 65% design, which will put us in a really good position to apply for grants in the future. Because we'll have a really good understanding of the right-of-way costs, construction costs, utility relocation costs, environmental mitigation. There are a variety of federal and state grant programs that are available for this particular project. Not all parts of the project align with all the same grants, but we think taking the entire package to a 65% design puts us in a really good position. Funding requests, the consultant for City of Sacramento is still working on the total dollar amount. We estimate somewhere in the $5 to $10 million range, but that is really an estimate. But we think this is a really good project and has a lot of options for getting funding in the future. So with that, we're just asking for a resolution authorizing STA to submit the application for these two projects. I will note that our role is really limited to submitting the application only. We are not the implementing agency. We might be doing some coordination, but that's pretty much it. And with that, open to any questions.
Thank you so much. Director Hume.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, support both of these efforts. Stockton Boulevard is ripe for investment into transportation and really revitalization of that corridor. But I just want to thank you, Mr. Busey. You did say that I called me out by name that I'd be passionate about the Harvest Corridors Improvement Partnership. And, it was something I think of just like a flip comment that I made during a meeting one day, and you said, "Do you really want me to look into this?" And I said, "Well, sure, let's look into it." And it's now, I think, grown into this fully realized strategy to try and recognize the importance of roadways that would not otherwise compete well, and yet not making it punitive to the agencies that would have to prioritize, well, do I spend our money over here or do I spend it over there? We're kind of taking it out of their area of responsibility. So appreciate that, and I'd be happy to move the resolution.
Director Guerra.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I agree. I think both of these are important projects. Obviously, we want to make sure that as our agritourism economy grows, that when folks are driving out there, that it's a safe areas to drive, let alone folks who live there and have to use heavy equipment for the agricultural purposes. And very excited about the Stockton Boulevard, safety and transit enhancement project. And this is one of those where we have multi-agencies looking at not only just the transportation part of it, but also the housing component of it, and also the business revitalization component of it. The only one thing, again, I want to also think about and ask as we move forward and as STs in these conversations, and I brought this up to the city and RT as well, is that there's new technology coming in. And what is a bus rapid transit system? What is how does an alternative to say light rail look like? And I saw Atlanta's efforts most recently, and I think it's important for us to make sure that we're looking at what does the next 30 to 40 years look like, and not just the past technology that we've seen. I think there's great examples of that. But excited again to look at how we continue to improve and revitalize Stockton Boulevard, which in my opinion, I think at some point it'll go not just from Sacramento, the city, but through the county and to Elk Grove in the future. So thank you very much, and glad to second the motion.
Thank you. Director Maple.
Thank you, Chair. Everything that my colleagues just said. So not much else to add. Just really want to appreciate, especially on the Stockton Boulevard piece, how important that is to the communities that Eric and I represent, and Patrick Kennedy and Phil Cerna. It's truly a partnership, but it's I think one of the highest growth opportunity areas in the city and the county and beyond. We have Aggie Square in there. We've got over 1,000 planned units. There's so much investment and opportunity along the corridor that I think Stockton Boulevard is going to be a very different place in 5 and 10 years. And so I think projects like this will only help that grow. So I'm very excited to support this today. Thanks.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We might have electronic voting. There we go.
The motion passes unanimously with those members present.
That takes us to our executive director's report. Director Busey.
Yeah, wonderful. Just kind of highlight a few things that we're working on that may not actually come to the light of the full SDA board as far as an item. SACOG regional funding round training. So we did 2 training sessions. They're about 30 to 40 minutes long on essentially, what is the strategy for applying for these SACOG funding rounds and how to put together a competitive application. This is $203 million total available across 6 counties, and it is awarded on a competitive basis. And so we want to ensure that our agencies are leveraging our local dollars or our Measure A dollars. So we put the training on we did this training, we recorded it, it's on our website, and we actually did a couple of actual check some worksheets essentially to sort of help each agency out. So we're hopeful that we'll move forward. We'll be very successful in that funding round. We had about 30 staff at each of those trainings, and it was a little different. The first was more about strategy, so it was for one audience, and the other one was more about preparing the grant application, which is kind of more for another audience. So it was good. One thing I want to flag is we've been having some conversations with SACOG on SB 1087, and it's a bill to modernize SB 375. One of the challenges with that bill is that it essentially there's a challenge as it relates to SB1 funding in the future. It would likely going to be limited to only projects that can reduce greenhouse gas emissions through the Solutions for Congested Corridor and the TSEP program, which is TSEP is Trade Corridor Enhancement Program. And there's some challenges with that in the fact that the Trade Corridor Enhancement Program, as an example, was really about freight and good movements. And so to try to limit our region's ability to apply for those types of projects to only projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions we would probably not have a lot of projects to try to get those SB1 dollars. We have Solutions for Congested Corridors a little different because there are a lot of transit and rail related projects that are eligible for that. So I think that one's a little less restrictive. I will note that with that one in particular, I think that the challenge there though does become, are we going to have projects that we want to advance given our current concern regarding a transit fiscal cliff, right? Are we going to be in a situation where we don't have competitive projects to expand transit because we don't have the funding to actually operate our current transit system? And so I think SACOG and I have had some really good conversations about it. I think what I've asked them to do and they're looking into now is to make sure that our current 2025 blueprint will continue for at least the next 3 cycles of the SB1 program, so we will not have that limitation, and we continue to apply for funding for all project types for the next 3 funding rounds. So I think that's been a good conversation. I'm hoping to see something come out of that. Second item would be there is a statewide VMT mitigation bank under AB 130. They had developed some guidelines on how that program would work. The costs for that program are about 17 cents per VMT, which is really, really low, to the point where it would make a regional VMT mitigation bank pretty much infeasible. And there's still concerns about specifically that return to source component, right? Are we going to put money into a statewide bank? Will it come back to us? So both STA and SACOG wrote letters to LCI, which is the Office of Land Use and Climate, on those guidelines. I think those are great letters. I've attached a letter to this actual staff report so you can all see it, but really focusing on that return to source element to ensure that those dollars that are generated through VMT mitigation in your agency stay within your agency. And then finally, I do want to highlight a couple things on SB1 regional project prioritization. So SACOG is prioritizing what projects are prioritized at the region when we apply for SB1. STA is looking at applying for that program for the US 50 Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan under the Solutions for Congested Corridor, and we're also looking at advancing a project on the I-5 corridor related to managed lanes. We've had a lot of good conversation with our partners. They're all very excited about those projects, specifically US 50. We've got a lot of multimodal transit projects on the 50 corridor. We think we're in a good position to hopefully get those funded through this program. And then finally, since a lot of us went to Cap recently, it was really interesting. I was at Cap and we had been working with DOT on our Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, trying to get that grant assigned, and they signed it on the Monday when I was in Washington, right when I was in the actual meeting with them, and I thanked them. But so we're excited about that countywide safety action plan. We got $1 million grant to do that. Now we can start developing the RFP and issue it. It's about a $1.25 million effort. And it would basically provide what is our plan to address safety at a county level. We'll have chapters for each agency. Some agencies are doing their own plans. We'll just incorporate your work. But it makes us eligible for other grant programs once that plan is done. It makes us eligible for the Highway Safety Improvement Program. It makes us eligible for Safe Streets and Roads for All actual implementation grants. So I'm pretty excited that we're able to move that forward. And with that, I'm open to any questions.
Thank you. Director Hume?
Thank you, Chair. Great report. Thank you. Appreciate that. With respect to the statewide VMT bank, we had a spirited discussion on this board, and obviously return to source in some fashion remains a serious concern. So I appreciate you and SACOG, certainly waving that banner. But the other thing is we had a discussion on this at the Lunar Committee at SACOG last week, and there's some speculation that the 17 cents per unit VMT figure is artificially low, and that it has basically no effective purchasing power depending on which region into which it's deployed, and that maybe they perhaps looked at expediency over accuracy when trying to sort of look at how to put this piece together. And so I would just encourage, and I don't know if it takes formal direction from this board, but I would encourage you to kind of stay aware and stay vigilant and continue demanding, a reasonable program be put together, whether that's, something that we can compete with locally or not.
Thank you. Director Dickinson?
Thanks. Something you said made me think there is considerable controversy about CARB's potential for affecting the distribution of the greenhouse gas emissions fund, and in particular, transit agencies around the state, and I think increasingly the cities and counties have become nothing short of alarmed, because the way the CARB has at least floated a draft, it would zero out money for the Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities Program for TIRSIP and for the trade corridors. And when you mentioned the trade corridors, that's what triggered us. The trade corridors program. So I was just curious whether either you have picked that up, or whether the state association has picked that up as an issue.
Yeah, that sounds like it's squarely in the SACOG world to me, and the California Council of Governments. I mean, I'm not as aware of that as those agencies. I'm pretty sure they're actively working on that specifically, because there are some discretionary funds, and it's unclear exactly where those funds are going. So I could work with them and check in, just see where they're at. I think they're fairly effective.
It's certainly relevant to SACOG, no question about it.
Yep.
But it also becomes relevant to this authority in terms of funding that could be available, could be part of a match for funds that are available under Measure A, for example, in the Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities Program. So I encourage you to take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll just say, I think the Affordable Housing Sustainable Community Strategy or that program itself, I mean, it typically will fund both a combination of housing, transit, and bike and ped, right? And so I think I'm aware of like 5 different applications that SACRT is working on under that program. And then we also view Stockton Boulevard as a very strong future project. And I think Dos Rios actually was one of the projects that was awarded.
Dos Rios, I think, yes, was an affordable house. Yes, it was.
So you make a great point.
As is the bridge housing project at Arden and Del Paso Boulevard, which has transportation improvements associated with it as well. But my only point is that I think it may have implications for the authority too. So it might be something you want to delve into a little bit. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? All right, that takes us to our authority and subcommittees. Director Talamontes, any update on CARTA?
All right. CARTA is extending a job offer to the new executive director of that, and it will be on the board agenda for next week. And so I was not part of the interviews, but I heard it was very competitive, and we selected a great candidate, and so excited to see what that looks like. And then I-5 will eventually make its way onto the managed lanes, and then eventually we'll have voting power, and we will hit that road and get a lot of comments from the residents of Sacramento region.
I'm sure. All right, so next up we have our new Transportation Funding Subcommittee. Director Guerra?
Nothing from the committee itself, but the information available from the Safe Streets campaign that's out there independently of this agency is out there collecting signatures. They have a deadline coming up in a month, and we'll know more information about that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. SDA's role in the Region Subcommittee. Director Hume?
We have not met, nothing to report. Hopefully we'll have a meeting maybe towards the end of summer.
All right. Any other comments from the board today? Seeing none, we're adjourned at 2:11. Have a great day, everyone.